My name is Ryan Cole. I'm 28, and last Christmas Eve became the night I realized just how fragile my family really was. If you've ever sat through a holiday dinner where jokes are made at your expense and humiliation becomes the main form of entertainment, then you already know the quiet sting of shame. But last year, that sting turned into something deeper, something sharp enough to change everything. Every year, Christmas Eve was tradition at my Aunt Margaret's house. My family always portrayed itself as warm, generous, and close-knit. But if you peeled back the wrapping, what you'd find was not love, it was performance. My aunt was the ringleader, loud, sharp-tongued, and addicted to control. She treated the gift exchange like it was her personal stage show, praising some relatives while slyly tearing down others. My parents never interfered. They allowed her to dictate the mood, even when her jokes cut far too deep. That night, the living room shimmered with fairy lights and smelled of ham and cinnamon. Everyone sat in a circle as Margaret paraded gifts around, announcing them like trophies. This one's for Claire, because she got her master's degree. And this one's for Daniel, because he bought his first house this year. Laughter and applause followed each gift, with my aunt smiling like she was responsible for their accomplishments. I sat quietly, watching the stack of presents shrink. I already knew what was coming. It wasn't the first time I had been left out. When I was younger, I was the shy cousin. Later, I was the indecisive one who changed majors in college. After graduation, I was the failure who hadn't settled down yet. Nobody cared about the business I was quietly building or the long nights I spent working toward something greater. They only measured me by what I didn't have yet. Finally, the pile was gone. Aunt Margaret turned toward me with that cruel little smile she wore whenever she thought she was about to land the punchline. She raised her empty hands dramatically. And as for Ryan, well, nothing for you this year. You haven't earned it. The room erupted in laughter. Not awkward chuckles. Genuine, mean-spirited laughter. My parents gave weak smiles, too afraid to challenge her. My cousins smirked. Some avoided eye contact. Some watched me, waiting for me to laugh it off like always. My chest burned. My ears rang. I could feel the weight of every gaze pressing me down, begging me to play my role, the quiet one, the scapegoat. But something inside me snapped. I leaned down, reached into my bag, and pulled out a small, neatly wrapped box. I set it on the coffee table with a quiet thud. The sound sliced through the laughter like a blade. Every head turned. I looked directly at my aunt and said, calm and steady, "That's fine. Because I brought something that's going to change this family forever." The laughter died instantly. The glow of the Christmas tree seemed colder. My uncle shifted in his seat. My cousin Claire froze mid-sip. And for the first time in years, they weren't laughing at me. They were waiting. They didn't know I had spent the past year digging into things they wanted hidden. Secrets whispered behind closed doors. Documents buried in drawers. Transactions disguised as family investments. I hadn't planned to reveal them that night. But humiliation has a way of flipping a switch you didn't even know existed. "What's in the box?" Margaret finally asked, her voice tight. "Something that belongs to all of us," I replied. "Something you've kept hidden long enough." My mom's face went pale. My dad shifted uncomfortably. Whispers spread among the cousins. The air grew heavy with silence as I slowly untied the ribbon. Inside was a black box, and within it, a thick envelope. I held it up. "This contains documents. Bank statements. Transactions. Things most of you don't know about." My father's eyes shot to mine. My mother looked like she might faint. Margaret forced a laugh. "You expect us to believe you found anything important? You've never been responsible enough to handle your own life, let alone ours." I cut her off, my voice sharp. Quiet doesn't mean blind. And it doesn't mean stupid. The room went still. I let the envelope rest on the table as I continued. "This isn't about me being overlooked for gifts or mocked every year. This is about truth. And truth has a way of shattering illusions." My uncle, usually the peacemaker, spoke up. "Ryan, maybe this should be handled privately." "No," I said firmly. "For once, everyone needs to hear the truth at the same time. No more secrets whispered behind closed doors." Margaret snapped. "You're being ridiculous." "Admit what?" "There's nothing." I smiled faintly. "Then you won't mind if I read these out loud." Her face drained of color. My mom stood suddenly, her chair scraping the floor. "Please, Ryan, not here." Her voice cracked, trembling. And that reaction told everyone more than my words could. Murmurs spread. Suspicion grew. I tore open the envelope and spread the documents across the coffee table. Lines of numbers, account statements, and signatures stared back at them like evidence in a courtroom. "These," I began, "are records of transactions over the past 5 years. Aunt Margaret, you weren't just playing gift master. You were managing family funds. Money contributed for a supposed investment pool. Only, a good portion of it went into your personal account." Gasps filled the room. My cousins exchanged horrified glances. My uncle's face drained of color. Margaret stammered. "It was for safekeeping. For emergencies." "Really?" I flipped a page. "Then why did the withdrawals line up with your luxury car payments? Or the renovations on your kitchen? Or your vacation to Italy?" Her face twisted. The room erupted with voices, cousins demanding answers. And then I dropped the real bomb. "These aren't just your accounts, Aunt Margaret. They're Dad's, too." The room froze. My father's face turned gray. I held up another paper. "This is a loan taken out in my name. Without my consent. Signed by you, Dad. That's fraud. And the money? Straight into Margaret's account." My mother burst into tears. That alone was confirmation. I stood, gathering the papers. My voice cut through the chaos. "You laughed at me for not being successful enough. You said I hadn't earned a gift. Meanwhile, you were stealing from me. Using my name. My credit. My future. And you thought I'd never find out." The room was chaos now. Cousins yelling. My uncle shouting questions. Margaret shrieking about how I forged the documents. But the evidence was undeniable. Bank stamps, signatures, confirmations I had already secured. I raised my voice, strong and steady. "I've already contacted the banks. The accounts are frozen. The loans are under review. And if necessary, I will press charges." Dead silence followed. My family, who once laughed at me every Christmas, now looked at me with fear. Margaret's voice cracked as she shouted, "How dare you do this on Christmas Eve?" I looked her dead in the eyes. "How dare you steal from me, humiliate me, and treat me like I was nothing?" One by one, the cousins turned their backs on her. My uncle stood, disgust clear in his eyes. My father sat frozen, unable to speak. My mother sobbed quietly. I slung my bag over my shoulder, picked up the envelope, and looked around the room one last time. "Merry Christmas," I said evenly, and walked out into the cold night. For the first time, I didn't leave in shame. I left in control. The fallout was immediate. Investigations began. Margaret's calls went unanswered. My uncle cut ties completely. My parents tried to reach out, but I told them I'd only speak when they admitted the truth publicly. They haven't. Not yet. But me? I've never felt lighter. Years of humiliation vanished in a single night. Because the truth, once exposed, doesn't go back into hiding. And on that Christmas Eve, I gave my family the only gift they truly deserved, the truth. If you found my story powerful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more stories, and share it with someone who needs to hear that silence doesn't mean weakness. Sometimes, silence is just preparation for the moment everything changes.